Welcome back into Occupy Democrats. And there's a common phrase in highly competitive sports is act like you've been there before, which is kind of the difference between silent strength and overcompensation, or calm confidence versus demanding respect. And in this breaking story, that's the exact problem that Donald Trump has had his entire life. And then what he does is he implores and actually employs other people who have the same problem. Bravado over baseline strength. And what you're going to see in this breaking story is going to blow your mind because, of course, Trump spoke earlier with the generals and had his boy from the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, by his side. And right off the bat, Trump started out by basically threatening a room full of generals. This.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that.
And then Hegseth came in and added to it.
Maximum lethality and authority for warfighters.
You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want.
No more politically correct and overbearing rules of engagement. Just common sense.
And when it's all said and done, his boy Pete Hegseth comes across as if he's about to lead the charge in World War I or World War II. This.
We unleash overwhelming and punishing violence on the enemy. We also don't fight with stupid rules of engagement. We untie the hands of our warfighters to intimidate, demoralize, hunt, and kill the enemies of our country.
Trump even informed the media ahead of time. This is what his attitude was.
I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire him right on the spot.
And as Donald does, he threatens your livelihood, just like Jimmy Kimmel. No different. This.
And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank, there goes your future.
The new compass heading is clear. Out with the Shirellis, the Mackenzies, and the Millies, and in with the Stockdales, the Schwarzkopfs, and the Pattons.
And oh, by the way, the no more Millies, he's talking about this amazing general.
And their unrelenting devotion to the Constitution of the United States, the moral North Star for all of us in uniform. It is that document that gives purpose to our service, and we in uniform are willing to die to pass it on to the next generation. In it are the ideas and the values that make up this experiment called the United States of America. You see, we are unique among armies. We are unique among militaries. We do not take an oath to a king or a queen, a tyrant or a dictator. We do not take an oath to an individual.
So in this breaking story, imagine if you're someone who has done that, been there before, having to listen to someone who's trying to act like they know what they're talking about and been there before. Listen to this general talk about what he just witnessed in this breaking story right here.
Pete Hegseth, and he then proceeded, as he is now, I think, to talk about changing the culture in the military. He said for too long it's been dependent on race and gender and ideology. I want to bring back in with us retired Army Brigadier General Steve Anderson. General, good to see you. You've been listening. Have you heard anything that constitutes a change or an announcement or a reason to be addressing the group in the room today?
Well, I think that there are probably a lot of general officers sitting there right now muttering to themselves, I traveled 8,000 miles to hear this. I mean, this is essentially a canned speech that really it could have been delivered by anybody at almost any time. But I think that there are some clues he's leaving about refocusing on homeland security and taking away perhaps some of our forward presence and the strength of our alliances overseas. And that really concerns me. I mean, that has kept this world safe for 80 years. I mean, the NATO alliance and the alliances we have in Japan and Korea have kept this world relatively safe for a long time. And for us to come off on that would be a terrible, terrible mistake. And I think that there were probably a couple of clues that he left there to that regard. The other thing that he talked about was changing the culture and, talking about accountability and responsibility. I mean, there's nothing like being lectured by a reserve major, been in the military for 20 years, and about things like that. I mean, these guys can write books about their service and their sacrifice and the bravery that they have shown. And if you talk about accountability and responsibility, he needs to start with himself. he should have resigned after the Signalgate disaster, where he shared our classified secrets on an unsecure line. Every single person in that room knows that they would have been fired had they done the same thing. So, I mean, this is really a sad moment in our history. I think that this speech and what's going on right now is probably going to turn into a political rally for President Trump. But it's really all about trying to get the military to kowtow to them and their will. And unfortunately, I think we're going to just see a lot of that for the next hour or so.
Remember back when Trump first campaigned for 2016, how he talked about, I don't like to tell everybody everything so people don't know what we're doing? Yet, they just announced to the world that they were going to pull in generals from all over the globe, removing them from their post and putting them in one room. One might call that strategically effing stupid. And to basically sit there like you're a brand new employee in a corporation getting a operations manual on how to function and lecture to a bunch of generals, when that's not what you're doing. You're just telling them, I'm going to threaten your rank if when I order you to go into the streets of America, you won't question it and you'll just do it. This is about setting up martial law and totalitarianism and continuing to try to utilize an act that we're being invaded and we're at war domestically to actually get approval and allowance to continue to do what Trump is doing, and that is scare the entire country into silence. And what's coming 14 months from now? Scare people from going out to vote. That's the real end game. So, with that said, you guys stay frosty.